Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for our live interview with one of our ABS licensees. We also refer to our licensees as business owners. So Jeff has been with us for a few months now, and he's here today to share some of his story and answer your questions from somebody who's actually been through our training. I'm the founder of the company, American Business Systems. We've been in business now for about 27 years. And I like doing these webinars because, again, I'm talking with people who are actually proof that you can get into this business without a whole lot of knowledge about the business and yet still make a good income working from your home. So I'm also on the National Advisory Board for MERMA, which is the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. Go to MERMA.org if you want to find out more about MERMA. And look at our National Advisory Board there, and you'll see that there are a lot of folks who are involved in this industry, the healthcare industry, in various ways, helping our licensees who go through our training to get certified. We give you a certification at the end of the training, and I'm also a member of the editorial board of a Billing and Coding Advantage magazine, which has been around for 20 some odd years. There's over 40,000 subscribers. Yes, there's still magazines that are mailed out, printed and mailed. And this is one of them. And my articles appear in that, of course, on a regular basis as well. You can also go to Amazon if you want to find out that I'm really an author. I've written a few books there that you see on the screen. And we'll be talking about one of those books in particular today, the one in the middle there about the new thriving medical practice and how you can use that as a marketing tool. Again, American Business Systems has been doing this for 27 years. That's right. Back in 1994, we started actually teaching and training other people and supporting other people who wanted to get into this business. My wife and I were doing medical billing ourselves, and we were doing very well. And people were asking us, how in the world do you stay at home and yet still afford, new cars and home and so forth? And when we started explaining that to people, they wanted to know more. And I figured, well, there must be a market for teaching people how to do this. But first, I wanted to prove that it actually worked for us. And so we figured out how to market to doctors. There's a very good secrets that we share with our licensees about what we found out that works and what doesn't work. And that is the key to making a success of any business, right? Getting clients. And we happen to be experts in that and know how to do that. We have signed up people, by the way, from every ethnic background, every religious background, every political background. It doesn't matter where you're from or what your background has been. You don't have to have any knowledge or training of this market at all. We'll teach you exactly what you need to do. What you'll be using is our cloud-based medical billing system. It's called iClaim. There it is in the bottom right-hand corner there, shown on the laptop. And actually, it runs on any computer, Mac, Apple computers, Windows computers, doesn't matter. Even Chromebooks could run our software because, again, it's in the cloud. So as long as you can get to an internet address and log in with the credentials that we give you, you can go and use our system to do the billing for doctors. They need help. You can help them by increasing their cash flow, getting their money faster. And that's what our business is all about. We also have other services that you can offer to doctors that we'll touch on briefly today as we talk with Jeff more about this. So let's see if we can get Jeff on the line here. Jeff, you still with me out there?
Yes. Hi, Patrick. Let me see if I can. There we go.
Hey, there he is. Hi. You're working out of your home office, looks like.
I am. I'm at my kitchen table here, which is where I do a lot of my work.
Yeah. I'm here in my home office, as you can see, and it's completely real. Yeah, I can reach back here and actually get something off this shelf. No, I can't. With the technology we have nowadays, Jeff, it looks like I'm in a real office, but these are all just virtual backgrounds that you can get. Yeah. So we didn't know that wasn't virtual behind you there too.
That's right. Well, I'll have to research the virtual backgrounds. That's one thing I've not used. But for now, you're seeing right out the window of my kitchen, and I'm looking over a golf course right over here. So good place to be right now.
Yeah, a good place to work. Hey, this picture was taken back when you came through our live training. At one time, Jeff, people don't know this that are brand new to these webinars, but we do our training now virtually over the internet with a live instructor, one-on-one. But back when you came through training over a year ago, I guess now, hadn't it been? You were
Yeah.
You were actually there in the classroom. We had that picture taken together, and you're holding up a. Let's see if I can get back to that. Somehow I keep pushing the wrong buttons. Here it is. This is the certificate that you're actually holding there, and it says that you are a certified medical revenue manager. You want to explain to people why we don't just say you're just a medical biller?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, the main thing is that there is so much, in my opinion, so much more to running a physician's office or a practice than just financially than just billing. I mean, there's a lot more to it. What I try to do with my clients is talk to them about, obviously their claims, but also different streams of revenue that are available to the practice. I know that at some point you'll get into, or at least I hope you will, Patrick, get into all the different offerings that we can provide, as licensees, ABS licensees to offices. But billing is the bread and butter of my business anyway. But there's all sorts of ancillary products and ancillary streams of revenue that we can offer to our clients that in turn become streams of revenue for us as well. So all of that kind of falls under, in my opinion, the umbrella of medical revenue management. I mean, there's lots of ways to get revenue as a company.
Yeah, so basically we're telling people, look, don't just think of yourself as somebody who's doing the billing for doctors. What you're doing is you're helping to manage their entire revenue cycle, which includes all the money that they get from insurance companies, from government agencies, from the patients themselves that are self-pay, for example. All that money counts, and yet some of it is left on the table by the doctors, huh?
Well, it's true, and doctors are they obviously go and specialize in medicine, and they're really good at that. A lot of them aren't so good at the business part of running a practice, and that's one thing that I knew I could bring to the table, and is some expertise in finance and then of course with the training that we get through ABS. So that is what allows us to be so effective as really partners with practices. Because that's what we do. In my opinion, I consider myself a partner in the practices that I work with. And I don't mean an owning partner, but we have a distinct partnership. I mean, I'm handling the revenue for these offices, and they are still my boss, if you will, but I'm handling the revenue part and bringing what I hope is really good service to these offices.
Yeah, Jeff, why don't you share with folks a little bit about, your business? Just give us some overview to the types of clients that you have, for example. What kind of medical specialties do you bill for?
Businesses that I do work for are primary care providers. I have a couple family practice offices, a nurse practitioner and a PA are clients of mine. I have a physical therapist as a client, and I have, a fourth one would be the occupational, basically an occupational medicine physician. They do physicals and drug tests and that type of thing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, some people don't realize how many different specialties there are out there. Did you go after those and market directly to those types of doctors, or were these all just happenstance?
No, I definitely made well, first of all, the training, when I went through training in Grapevine, Texas, I'll never forget that. Never heard of Grapevine, Texas until I went there, but it's a beautiful area. When I went through there, much of the training or focuses on different ways to build our businesses, different ways to market and secure clients. So I went through that. I'm no dummy. I did what I was told to do, and the methods work. But what I did was I focused on at the start anyway, with smaller practices, like single provider practices. One of the main reasons is that they're easier to access, in my opinion, than a great big, 10 or 15 physician practice. It would be great to have those kind of practices, but you have to run a gauntlet of gatekeepers, and often the single providers, which again I've been focusing on, are much easier to access initially. So that's how I've been building my business, with those types of providers.
Yeah, and there are so many different specialties out there. A lot of people get confused as to, well, which one should I aim for? And of course, that's part of our training, right? We kind of narrow that down for you. Out of the hundreds, well, there's probably several dozen specialties that are out there. Cardiologists, geriatric doctors, all sorts of specialties. And we kind of narrow that down so people know, well, here's where the money is. If you're wondering, it's pretty simple to figure out that a surgeon would be billing probably a whole lot bigger numbers than just a general practitioner. So
Yes.
we teach you how to go after those particular types of specialties. And then anybody that's referred to you by another doctor, you just basically will take them as a client, probably, unless you learn otherwise. They're all, they'll all make you money. Some of them just make you more than others.
That's right. Well, and that's a good point that you just made. Initially, going to be real straightforward. It's the hardest part about building the business is getting that first client. But once you get the first client, if you do a good job for them, those folks have friends who they went to medical school with, or PA school or something like that, and it gets easier after that. I found that subsequent clients were referrals, and but again, getting that first client or two, and then doing a good job for them, and then working referrals is the way that a lot of people build their business here. And that's the way I've built mine.
Jeff, here's our first question here from Alex. He says, "Hi, Jeff. How did you conduct your marketing campaign, and which do you think produces the best result?"
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good question, Alex. There's, again, as I mentioned earlier, there are, through the ABS training, when you go through the entire training, there's a focus on lots of different ways. There's many, many ways to market your business. Personally, I did what is called direct marketing. I had good success with that, and that was, but it was kind of a bit of a modification. One of the things that you get, again, with the ABS opportunities, you get a whole, just like a gigantic laundry list of marketing materials. There's lots of ways. Patrick mentioned his books. Those are very effective. There's a series of different, just plain flyers. They're beautifully done. They're glossy. They're very professional. And what I did with those is I put an introductory letter together with those flyers, and I would go into an office and introduce myself. I'd say, "Hey, my name is Jeff. I'm with Northern Revenue Solutions, and I'm trying really just today to get the word out on my new business. We specialize in helping private practices become more streamlined and profitable. Would you be kind enough to give this to Dr. So-and-so?" And I would say this, by the way, to the very first person, that usually the receptionist that I saw. And they would give that to Dr. So-and-so, and after a while, after a few more visits perhaps, I found that I was starting to get lots of calls. They say, "Oh, I saw your letter, or I saw this book that you dropped off. That was really interesting. As a matter of fact, we are having some issues with our biller. Can you come in and talk to us?" And all of a sudden, I have an appointment with these practices, and it just kind of built on itself, and that's how I got my initial clients. But to your question, Alex, for me personally, it was direct marketing. Going in, it wasn't really salesy at all, in my opinion. I was just introducing my business, making people aware of it, and then I found that they were calling me after a while. There are lots of different ways, though, to market a business through network or business networking, referrals, family and friends. There's just lots of ways to market a business.
Yeah, we go into detail in our training on all those different methods, and some work better than others for some people, and others don't like some of them. So we give you plenty of choices to go out there. I'm showing some of the marketing materials that you just mentioned there. We have a whole postcard campaigns that are automated. We have the books, of course, that I'm going to talk about here in just a second, and then all the nice flyers. We've spent a lot of money, Jeff. I mean, over $100,000 developing all the materials that you see here. That's why when people ask me, well, why is your licensing fee $28,000. Well, it's just like a franchise. You're going to pay a fee up front to open up a Subway sandwich shop, even $70,000, $80,000 probably in just the franchise fees, not to mention the actual retail store and inventory and so forth. So it's an investment. And the way you look at it is I could either spend this money myself developing all this, or I can just go with somebody who's already got the whole thing put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that, if I could, Patrick, if I can add something to that, that's actually how I got involved with ABS at the beginning. Is that again, several years ago, or a few years ago rather, I had a chance to take an early buyout from a company that I was with for about 28 years, and I jumped at that opportunity. At the time, I was, even though I've got gray hair, I was young enough to where I still knew that I wanted to work. I knew I didn't want to work for another large corporation. I wanted to do my own thing. So I actually, you're actually talking to someone who did this. I researched lots of different franchises, came across ABS. I really don't consider ABS a franchise in that I can tell you I've paid the initial franchise or the initial licensee fee rather, but there's not any ongoing cost. I mean, I've not paid a dime additional other than my initial fee. So from that standpoint, I really don't consider it a franchise as much as a licensing, is what a license opportunity, but one with lots of support, lots of materials to work with, lots of marketing, training, that type of thing. So yeah, I'm real familiar with franchises, but from my standpoint, this worked out really well. Again, I knew I wanted to have my own business. That's what I'm doing. I'm building my own business, and I knew that I didn't want to really have a storefront where I had to go somewhere, from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 every single day. I wanted the opportunity to do my business from wherever I'm at in the world. And right now I'm speaking to you from my kitchen table. If you catch me in March or October, you're going to catch me in Hilton Head working my business. We go down there for typically a few weeks at a time and spend some time on the beach, and in the morning or evening sometimes I'll do my work for my clients and hold up my computer and on with the rest of my day. So it can be done.
Is that where this is? You sent me a picture here of you and your wife. Is that?
No, this is actually in northern Michigan where I am. This is about probably about a mile and a half from my house.
Okay.
That's Boardman River, and that's Michelle and myself. That's me about a year ago in my quarantine beard there, which I've shaved off here. But there's this particular river. There's a lot of hiking trails around there, and we go hiking a lot there. It's just beautiful.
Oh, cool. And I think that's you and somebody else.
It is. That's myself and my oldest grandson. We just bought some property just a few months ago. We bought 5 1/4 acres and 300 feet on a lake. This is the lake itself. It's not real glamorous at all, just a typical up north Michigan lake. But I'm teaching him how to row a boat, and along with rowing the boat, of course, there's ample singing of row, row, row your boat. Sorry, it's corny, but it's fun to do with a 4-year-old. And this is what we were doing last weekend. As a matter of fact, we did this just this past Memorial Day weekend.
Did you say he's 4?
He's 4. Yeah, we have a 4-year-old and a little over 1-year-old grandson, and love to hang out with them as often as we can.
It's hard to explain to people what that feeling is for your first grandchild.
That's my oldest grandson back when he was 2, I think. I could be wrong, because it was either 1 or 2.
Oh, and now he's 4?
Yeah, he's 4. He's 4. Yeah, so that was one of his birthday parties there, and I seems to have been 2. Okay, there's Michelle and myself and our youngest daughter, Julia. Julia is a swimmer, among other things. She's going to be a senior at Wayne State. She's I don't know how many times, multiple time All-American swimmer there. So this is one of the meets. I don't know. She got a lot of medals. I don't know which one this is. This might be a conference meet or something, but.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing these with us, because I think it's important that people know, that the people that I interview on these interviews are real people. You're not actors. You're not paid to do this. It's just wonderful to know that you, built this business with your family and are taking it to hopefully as big as you want to get it. Have you
Yeah.
got any plans to build this thing bigger? Jeff, where are you at in your thinking?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about the ABS opportunity, in my opinion, is that you can build it as big as you want, or keep it as small and manageable as you want. Right now, I am working this with myself and one other person. The other person is definitely part-time, so I'm concentrating on my business, that I can work myself right now. And right now, it's a pretty good size. I definitely can build it more, and that's what I'm focusing on now is adding a few more clients. I don't know, frankly, that this is going to be real transparent. I don't know that I want to build it to where I have to have a whole lot of employees. You don't need to build it like that, in my opinion, to have a successful business. It's potentially my business I consider it to be really lucrative for the time I put into it, and there are people who have built a big business with multiple clients, multiple employees, if you want. All of that brings a whole different set of responsibilities, but I've chosen to kind of keep it more manageable and smaller. And right now I've got 4 clients right now, billing clients. I've got some additional payment processing clients, and then I've been talking to other offices as well. So that's where my business is. For me, it's a good fit right now. But I think I'm at the point now where I can definitely expand it, add another client or 2, and that's going to be the goal for this year.
Yeah. Hill, H-I-L, yeah, is asking that question. Said, first of all, how many clients do you have now? You just answered that. And what is the point client number wise where you need to add help? Have you felt like you needed to hire somebody to help you out?
The person I mentioned who is kind of on call is what I consider is my sister-in-law. So I am doing this almost completely by myself. I'm not at that point where I need to hire someone full-time. I'm not with 4 clients. The actual work itself is not difficult. I mean, it's important, in my opinion. I mean, you got a lot of people relying on you to do a good job. But the actual mechanics of it is not difficult at all. The hardest part is getting clients. The second hardest part, in my opinion, is setting up the offices, aligning them with payers. That's something that again, ABS and our partner companies help us with. And once you have a client and once you're aligned with payers, the actual mechanics of the job is easy. I mean, you're taking numbers from one place, putting them in another, and sending them on their way. And payers like Blue Cross and Medicare, pay claims based on these numbers that you were putting into certain forms and formats. So to your question, I am not at that point. That's a really good question. I don't know, maybe, I would envision once you get to maybe 8 to 10 clients, at that point, you may consider, maybe for some people a little bit earlier than that, but in my case, I could double the capacity that I have right now, and before I need to start looking at hiring someone.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's all up to you as an individual. How much time do you have available? How much time do you want to put into a business? I mean, literally, you could work 20 hours a day if you wanted to in your own business, couldn't you? There's no end to what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to know when to turn it off, but yes, you can. Yeah, it's again, to me, one of the great things that I like about what I'm doing now is that I can build it, if I want to, or I can build it to large amounts, like many people have done, or I can keep it where it's at now, or somewhere in between, and it can be done.
Yeah. Hill also makes a comment here, a question about, do other health-related offices work for this billing, like dental offices or chiropractors, for example?
Yes. Yeah, the answer is yes. There is a great big laundry list of potential clients that we have, including dental offices, chiropractors. Social workers, mental health offices, any type of medical-based practice. There's just a huge list of potential clients. You would really be surprised at how many potential clients there are.
Yeah, I think I have a list here that I can show on the screen. In fact, these are some of the medical specialties that we teach you about in our training. You don't have to know everything about every one of these because the billing is all the same for all of them, isn't it, basically?
That's right. Yeah, it's literally taking numbers from one place and putting them in another. That's all it is. And one thing, that was actually one of the things that I was concerned about, Patrick, when I came on board as a licensee, is I didn't know a thing about billing. I literally did not know a thing about billing. I just knew, conceptually, things that we already talked about. I wanted a business that I could operate from anywhere. I wanted it, something that I could, own, as opposed to working for someone else, or I know that there's people who are keeping their job and then building this business as they go along on the side, and then eventually you can make the move from being an employee to owning your own business. So I mean that's what worked for me, is that I wanted to do something on my own. Heck, I've had people, I've had two people already offer to buy my business, and I don't want to sell it yet. I mean, it would not make sense. It's generating significant cash for the amount of time I'm putting into it, and I'm just not ready to sell it yet. Physically, it's an easy business to work. I mean, I can do this for as long as I have clients and as old as I get, because you're literally sitting at a computer and clicking buttons and going, pulling numbers from one place to another. So physically, it's a very easy business to work as well.
Yeah, you could do this from the beach in Hawaii, couldn't you?
You could, as long as you have a good internet connection. I do it from the beach at Hilton Head, South Carolina. I really do, like overlooking the beach. That's where I do my work from when we're down there.
Yeah. So Hill, to answer your question, yes, it works for dental offices, chiropractors, just about everybody. And that specialty list that I just showed on the screen is in the handouts section over there in your control panel for GoToWebinar. So look for handouts, click on the little arrow next to the word handouts, and it should open up and show you that medical specialties list that you can download there. Jeff, there's another question here about clients. Nevin says, you say you have 4 clients. Isn't that about average, Patrick? And really, for most licensees, they don't get beyond, well, I tell them, look, when you get 2 handfuls, 10 clients, you're probably at the point where you're going to need to hire some help. That's just a general, but the point is that most licensees don't sign up more than about 10 clients, because that's all they want to handle. They don't want to hire other people and manage other people and grow the thing. Then I've got other licensees that I've interviewed that, Jeff, as you know, some of them have 50, 60, 100 providers that they're doing billing for.
It's true. So, I mean, one of the trainers, the main trainer, when I went to training, has got a huge business. She's a significant amount of clients, and that works for her, and that's good. So
yeah, Cynthia has also, of course, she's got people that she's hired. These are not employees, I don't think. I think they're all just contractors. But since they work from their home, she can manage everything, over the internet with them and have meetings like we're having right here and control everything that's happening. Yeah.
Yep, very much so.
Let's see. Bob is asking, with 4 clients, how long does it take you to do the billing? If you were to sum that up in a week's time, for example, how many hours do you think you put in for those 4?
Yeah, that's a great question. I kind of feel a little bit guilty revealing this here, but with 4 clients, and again, maybe this is an anomaly, I don't know, but if I spend more than, maybe if I spend more than an hour and a half or 2 hours a day, I'm working too hard. I mean, it doesn't take long. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And some of my offices don't work every single day. You know, on those, so in other words, they take, a couple of them take Fridays off, another one takes a Thursday off. So it's not, again, not very time intensive. Like I said, it's the actual work itself is fairly easy. Now there's sometimes when you have to, like today, for example, right prior to this, I was on the phone with a payer, a local payer here, kind of tracking down, information from a claim, and I was doing some on the phone work. So that can add up. And there are times when you do have to spend more time than an hour, hour and a half, or 2 hours per day, which is what I do. But that's not often. So to your question, about an hour and a half a day is what I'm spending on billing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, that's what makes it nice. Again, you can work any amount of hours you want to, as little or as many.
Right. Now again, the more, so you can tell, the more clients you add, it's going to add more to obviously to the time you have to spend on that, and also on follow-up as well. And there's just other things involved too that would multiply. So I think the more I think about it, Patrick, you mentioned, I think the 8 to 10 clients is about the time when, in my opinion, you'd need to hire someone to help with some of the other things, the paperwork and everything else.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's always up to you. And there's plenty of people out there to hire to do billing. We can show you how to find those people and be flooded with resumes from people who want to do this from their home. And you're just paying them probably by the hour to do the billing, or maybe by the claim, however you work it out. There's still plenty of money left over for you as the owner of the business to make money on it as well.
Yeah, that's right. Now, it's funny that, because I've actually been, when I talk with people just from time to time, just in passing or in different situations, when they find out that I have a billing company, medical billing company, they ask, are you hiring? Or do you want someone to, and so to your point, I'll reiterate that. That's absolutely right. It's easy to find people who like to work from home, on their own time, that type of thing.
Sure. Here's an interesting question from Angela. She says, I was advised not to go into medical billing because there's too many people going into the field. Do you find that there is a lot of people entering medical billing? And how is the market for a new person like me who wants to be a part of this? What would you think? Have you run across other, medical billing people out there? I mean, you obviously have competition.
Yeah, no, there's lots of other folks who do medical billing. There's lots of people who cut grass. There's lots of people who, cut hair. I mean, I guess there's other people doing this. If you provide good service and work hard and everything else, you can certainly carve out a good business. And a lot of it's on the business owner. It depends on the attitude. If you want to build a business, and if you spend time, building a business, you're going to build a business. If you don't want to do that, or if there's you think negatively, in my opinion, I think that's another thing as well. But there's definitely competition. I'm not afraid of competition. We've got a great product. We've got a great series of services and streams of revenue that we can offer offices. So I think we're positioned really, really well relative to other companies.
Yeah, I tell people just compare this with real estate agents in your city. Don't you see just hundreds and dozens of new agent signs going up everywhere? Insurance companies, there's new insurance offices opening up all over the place. You'd think we'd have enough insurance agents out there, but no, there are people opening up new insurance offices every day. So competition is just a part of life. If you have something that is better in the marketplace, a better mousetrap, so to speak, then you obviously can capture business that other people can't capture. And with our cloud-based system, we have some real advantages there, don't we, Jeff, over somebody who's just using a server-based software?
Yeah, no question. We haven't really talked about the software part, and I don't consider us at all software sellers at all. I think we sell our service and the ability to get people reimbursed as it relates to billing. quickly. But there's no question. When people see the systems that we have available to us, honestly, that's what kind of closed the deal, if you will, on my first two clients. Is that I sat there with them and we went through a demo, which is all set up by ABS, and they're oh my gosh, we can't do this right now in our system. So and they quickly thereafter became clients. So yeah, we're in my opinion, the materials that I have available to me are second to none.
Yeah, so Angela, I don't know what to tell you other than there will always be naysayers in your life that will tell you, oh, don't go into that. There's too many of those. I think there's too many Subway sandwich shops, but I don't mind another one opening up close by. Let's see. Crystal says, what would you advise a first-time business owner who's looking into ABS to run their business and get everything started? It's kind of a generic question there. I'm not sure what Crystal is asking there, but do you have any advice for somebody who's just started? You said you didn't have any background or training in this.
Not at all. I didn't know a thing about billing. Again, I just, we talked about conceptually that I knew what I wanted. What I would do if I assume that we have a lot of prospective licensees or folks who are kind of looking at the opportunity right now. So for everyone looking at the opportunity, I would definitely encourage you to do your due diligence. I worked with a gentleman named Jason Pettit back when, and I believe he may be still working with some of the folks here as well.
Yes, he is.
Okay, Jason's a real good guy. I've never met him, but I've talked with him back then several times. I did a lot of due diligence. He provided a list of licensees that I got on the phone, and I called as many as I could and just got different perspectives and asked them all sorts of questions. I would just make sure that you spend some time researching. I think what you're going to find if you research other companies, which I did, you'll find that the ABS, there's some really, really good positives. One of the things that I had a concern about, not knowing anything about billing, was, okay, what if I get a client? Now what do I do? Well, there's a support department with ABS that you can, if you need help, you can send a note and they'll get back with information for you. So that was honestly that was my main concern, Patrick, when I came on board, was I don't know a thing about this. I want to build a business, but I don't know a thing about it. Is there going to be someone there to help? And I found that is definitely the case. That was actually the best part of it, in my opinion, was the ability to get help and get answers when needed. Whether it's from the company or other licensees. And I was able to talk with some other folks and get ideas as well. So, but to your original question, kind of long-winded here, but do some due diligence, but ask lots of questions and make a wise decision from there.
Yeah, we're pretty upfront with people about this opportunity, Jeff. As you know, we tell people this is not for everybody. It could be that it's got aspects of it that you don't like at all, but you wouldn't know that until you've gone through our training, which tells you everything that we know about the business, right? So that's why we have a money-back guarantee. I'll talk a little bit about that here towards the end. Larry says, did you have any problem billing your clients? Yeah, how do you get your money from your doctors?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I do my regular work for them, and then each month I invoice them. And I've got no problems. I'm providing a really good service for them. I've grown the revenue. One of my clients, the first year I grew, when they switched from another biller or another billing company, speaking of competition, to my company, we grew their revenue 29% in the first full year. And it was just a matter of following up, and we have the ability to bounce claims off of a clearinghouse. I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but the software itself is really, really good, and that we use, and it allows for claims to be processed quickly. It allows for us to actually check a claim to see if it's going to go through before we send it through for real. I do that with every single claim. So they, there's lots of things that we can bring to the table, but in terms of getting paid, it's not been an issue at all. I invoice my clients and they pay me, and it's a non-issue.
I've heard of licensees setting the doctors up as a part of their agreement with the doctor. They say, we're gonna bill you for the first 2 months, and then we're gonna go to an ACH directly out of your bank account. So they provide the report showing the doctor exactly what they're billing for and how much it is. And then they tell them, and within the next 48 hours, you'll see that deducted from your bank account. That's just the automatic way they can get their money.
Yep, lots of ways you can do that.
Yeah. Alex says, hi, Jeff, do you distribute books as a way to get past the office manager?
Yes, definitely. The books that actually the one there it is right there. That's the one that I've used the most right there. That one's an excellent book. And, yeah, Patrick. Okay, exactly. I was going to say you wrote that. I think. That's a really good book. There's what I do is and this is actually part of training, but you can highlight passages in that book and flag them for offices. Usually when I use this book, I accompany it with a letter, a kind of a letter of introduction for my company. And it might be something like, Dr. So-and-so, I thought you might find this book interesting. It's, covers a lot of the issues that you may be seeing in your practice right now. In particular, take a look at page 72 or whatever I want to draw their attention to. And that creates a really good impression when I present that book there. And these are this particular item is something that we have access to as licensees. We can order these as part of our package, if you will. And Patrick, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not sure what how different it is from when I came on board, but as part of that package, when I paid my ABS or the license fee there, we got a certain allowance for this type of thing, flyers and books and that type of thing. Is that still the case? Or?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
I think there's like 30 books included in your license fee, but then you can reorder these. And the amazing thing is that you can buy these books that are paperback books you'd find on Amazon for $24.95. You can order them for like our printing cost, Jeff, which is like $4 a copy, somewhere around $4 a copy. So it's a pretty inexpensive way to get your name out there in front of people. As you know, it's also your contact information is on the inside of the book there. So it's a great business card.
Yeah, it is, right? I've used these a lot. As a matter of fact, I've used them often.
Yeah. Let's see, just looking at some of the other questions here. Hill says, do you have any breakout of how much revenue is generated based on the size of the practice? For example, a 2-person practice generates what kind of revenue? Can you give us an example of any of your clients that would be something people could wrap their brain around? If it's when they say a 2-person practice, I think they mean 2 providers, 2 doctors.
Sure. Well, I don't ever disclose my company's revenue, but I can give you a couple points here. Well, first of all, is there, and I haven't used this in a while, but when I was researching the ABS opportunity and the different opportunities, isn't there a calculator on the ABS website, or is there something
yes.
where you can? I can tell for folks who are listening, there's a calculator, and forgive me, it's been a while since I looked at it. It's been years since I looked at it, a couple of years rather. But I did look at it when I was researching the opportunity for this exact reason. I wanted to see if this was accurate, and I can tell you that calculator is really accurate. Where you can plug in, how many claims per month, and I think it's $100 a claim, and how much revenue can be expected to be generated from that. So I would encourage that if it's still there, to people to take a look at that. I can tell you kind of a funny story about how I financed my company. We had money in the bank. We could have paid cash for it, and it would have been fine. But at the time I was getting all these things in the mail. It said, sign this check and you'll get $25,000 on your Bank of America credit card and at 0% for X amount of months. And I looked at it and I had one, I thought, you know what, this one's for $30,000. I thought, I'm going to try this. The worst thing that could happen is we'll go to the bank and pay this off, down the road. So I wrote a check from that particular account. I financed my ABS fee at 0%, for 6 months or whatever the terms of that was. Or it might have been for a year. And I can tell you that with the revenue that I generated from my first 2 clients, I paid that at the time it was $28,000, $27,000, paid that off in the first 6 months of my business. And that was with 2 clients. So that you can kind of get an idea of what can be generated. Again, it's potentially a really lucrative business. It is a lucrative business, especially for the time that I put into it. But I was able to pay that amount just from the revenue that my business generated in the first 6 months.
Yeah, any business that gives you a return on your investment within 6 months is a great business, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, it worked out great for me. I just, again, we had the money in the bank as a backup. I mean, that was not an issue. But I thought, you know what, let's try this, and it worked out really well.
Well, there's lots of people who have basically, you basically think of it this way: if you can't get financing, finance yourself. Just use your own credit and your credit cards to do your own financing. Hey, here's the calculator, by the way. It's on our website here under Income Potential Medical Billing Income Calculator. And just for Hill's benefit there, I went ahead and put in 2 doctors, each seeing about 20 patients per day, 5 days a week, charging 7%. That's just an arbitrary figure that you can charge 6 to 7 to 8%, for doing this billing for the doctors, and the average claim amount of about $100. So you'll notice when we hit submit here, it shows us immediately that you would be earning for those 2 doctors $72,000 a year.
Yeah, that's accurate. I mean, yeah, the range is that I am. Kind of the standard that I kind of consider is anywhere from 5 to 8%. Some offices will be toward the higher end. If it's if you need to go down to 6%, 5%, you can do that. That's totally up to you what you have that leeway to do. But that's accurate, and I can tell you that is accurate based on my experience.
Yeah, that statement I made about using your own credit cards to finance this, Diana, that was for you. I see you asking a question there about any information about financing assistance. Now, if you get back with the person who invited you to this webinar, your ABS rep, we call them, they will be able to point you to some other resources that you may not know about. So be sure and check in with them. And let's see. Oh, Hill is asking kind of a follow-up question here to the person who was asking about competition. It says, are there large corporate-sized billing companies out there that make it hard to compete with the large practices? Have you run into any of that yourself out there, Jeff? Other big corporate billing, medical billing companies that are what you think of as big?
I personally have not run into them as a competitor. They're definitely out there. I go to, my eye doctor that I go to uses a big company, although that they have a lot of offices, probably 10, 12 different offices all across the state, and they use a big national company to do their billing. So they're out there. There's smaller companies. I mean, there's some local companies that are good size. I would not consider them national, but they've got several clients. So yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different types of billing companies. I believe there's still plenty of room for growth in this business. A lot of it is, frankly, those national companies are sometimes, as a matter of fact, that was my first client, was because of how bad a national company was as I sit here and think about, was performing. I don't know if it was a national company, but it was a company in North Carolina that was doing billing for this provider, 8 states away, and the provider could never get a hold of this billing company. I don't know if they thought she was too small or what the situation was, but it was easy to provide better service for that particular office. She ended up being my best client. So.
Well, and as Nevin, who's one of the people that work for me, he says, our sweet spot is the small to medium-sized doctors, so there's really no need to compete with the big companies. That's really our sweet spot, isn't it? It's just right in there where there are 1 to 6 doctors maybe in a practice.
Yeah, exactly. And those, as I alluded to before or mentioned before, those are in my opinion, the way to build a business is with those types of offices. They're easier to access. Often they're kind of slugging it out on the front lines in many cases, and they really need individualized, quality service, and that's what we can provide.
Jeff, we have about 6 minutes before the top of the hour. Hard to believe it's gone by that fast, huh? So I'm going to let you go. A couple of questions here, though, that are directly aimed at you. Alex says, have you encountered an ABS licensee in your area?
In my area, no. I'm in Michigan. I'm up in northern Michigan. Now there's ABS licensees in Michigan for sure, but the ones that I've talked with, the real good folks, are downstate in the Detroit and then the Grand Rapids area. There may be others, but those are the 2 that I've talked with. We can have clients anywhere we want in the U.S. I mean, they can be anywhere. I've chosen to focus locally, kind of within a hour and a half, 2-hour radius of where I live. But I've not run into any other licensees up here, where I'm at.
Yeah. It's very rare that I hear of a licensee running into another licensee. It's just the market is so huge out there. There's over 1 million medical providers. So believe me, our licensees have not even scratched the surface of those. Alex also wanted to know, last question for you, Jeff, is how long did it take you to get your first client?
It's a good question. My first client, it took me 2 months and 1 week to sign. And my second client came a month after that. So the answer would be a little over 2 months for my first one, and then my second one was a month after that. So I went from, that was after coming out of training. So I went from 0 to running pretty hard there within 3 or 4 months. Because again, keep in mind that it was getting clients is the most difficult part. There's lots of information about how to do that. It comes part of training, or as the training there. The second hardest part, as I mentioned, is getting them signed up. In my opinion, signed up with payers and aligned, and that can be done as well. So I was doing that for 2 offices at one time, and then the billing started, so I had to learn that as well. But then it got easier. It got much easier after that with referrals and learning what I was doing and that type of thing.
Yeah, I tell people, look, this business is not brain surgery. You may be doing the billing for a brain surgeon, but this is not that difficult. It's a very simple business if you can follow directions and just follow the system that we have laid out for people. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for your insight today. I'm sure everybody appreciates your time, taking time to answer these questions about your own business. I appreciate that. And Jeff, I'm going to throw this out there that if Adam gave your number out to somebody, would that be a bad thing? I mean, could you take a call from somebody if they wanted to? I'm
Sure.
talking about just the people on this webinar today. If they, for example, just wanted to ask you some questions personally, could Adam give them your number?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, I'm in Eastern time zone, everyone, so don't call me too late at night here if you're on the West Coast. But yeah, no, I'm happy to share my experience. Again, so far it's worked out great for me. It's exactly what I had in mind. It's not for everyone, and I can tell you again some of the challenges that I had. If you want to give me a call, happy to do that. But overall, it's been exactly what I had in mind, and definitely going to keep at it. So.
Great. Well, thanks again, Jeff. I hope to talk to you again in another year or so. We'll see where your business is at that point. So thanks for sharing today.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye. Okay, well, folks, there you go. You get to hear from somebody who's actually done the due diligence that hopefully you're doing on our company and the business, and has actually gone through the training, started their own, got their own clients, and he's making, basically a full-time income just from those 4 clients. Some people don't want to grow any bigger than they have to, and I don't blame them. You get to a certain point in life and you just want to do whatever it takes to make a decent living for you and your loved ones and not worry about anything else. Hey, we do have a money back guarantee for those of you who are looking into our business and are wondering. I don't know why that's showing that. Let me see. I'm supposed to be showing this. There we go. We're the only medical billing training company that I know of. Well, in fact, we're the only franchise that I know of, our business opportunity company, that has a 100% money back guarantee. So if you go through our training and you don't like what you see, you just ask for your money back, and we give that to you gladly and let you move on with your life and find something that you do want to do. Because hey, listening to me on these webinars, you may not figure out what it's all about, but when you go through the training, there's 10 modules. Each of them is about an hour and a half, and that's what we call our initial training, that's done one-on-one live with a live instructor. But if you want to get involved in the business, it's real simple. There's just 5 steps here that you need to take. First of all, look over our downloadable research guide. Here's what it looks like. It's actually a big PDF file that has over 50 pages of information that you won't find on our website. The only way you can get that is to contact your ABS rep, which you'll see the phone number and the email address right there on the screen. So if you're not sure who that rep is, go back to the email that invited you to this webinar, or call that number or email us. And number 2, we want you to browse our YouTube channel. Yeah, we've got literally dozens and dozens and dozens of webinars and interviews like this one that you just saw with Jeff on our YouTube channel. There it is. There's the address, youtube.com/whyabs. So write that down quickly. I'll leave that up there just for a second, and you can go check out the webinars and videos that are there. Number 3, ask your ABS rep for an owner reference list. All that is just a list of people who've agreed to, that they've gone through our training, they've started their own business, and they've agreed to take phone calls, just like Jeff did. You heard him a while ago, willing to talk to you about this business and what it's done for them and their families. So ask for that reference list as well. Now, number 4 is ask for a live demo of our iClaim EMRX platform. Folks, we don't have a CD with our software on it. It doesn't reside anywhere except in the cloud. So to show it to you, we have to log in live over the internet using GoToMeeting here. We'll connect with you and spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever you need to find out what you need to know about our software and answer all your questions. Then step number 5, review the purchase agreement and the funding instructions. You'll get that from your ABS rep as well, if you haven't seen the agreement that we have you sign. And I said there's 5 steps. We added one more here. There's the paperwork that you'll fill out. It's 4 pages is all it is. And the last step is this one: send in your agreement and funding and schedule your training. Now, what we mean by that, as you can see from this screenshot here, this is a slide that's being talked about by our instructor. You see her picture and her webcam up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. So folks, you'll be scheduling your training if there are slots available with our lead instructor. Cynthia is her name, and she's been running her own medical billing business now for, you get this, 10 years. Yeah. So she's been very successful at it, and she's been training for us for the past 5 years. She does a terrific job one-on-one. There's nobody else on there but you and Cynthia discussing the lesson and going through it step by step as you go through. They're set up according to your schedule, so you'll be able to talk to Cynthia yourself in person over the phone and say, hey, when can we schedule my first training session? And then when you get on the first training session, I think that's when you schedule all your other modules as well, if you know what your schedule looks like. So anyway, that's how you get started with our business, folks. I'm going to leave this slide up here that has all 6 of those steps on there so you can remember them. There's our phone number, our email address.